Okay, continuing on with our discussion of the cranial nerves, we'll go ahead and hit the one we skipped in that first video in the sequential order of things, and that's the trigeminal nerve, nerve number 5. It is the largest of all the 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and it has 3 major divisions that you will need to know for the lecture exam and for lab quizzes. Okay, so it is the most important sensory nerve of the face. It has 3 divisions. The ophthalmic division, called the V1, that projects up to the region of or above the eye and around the eye. It has the maxillary division that goes downward, and you can see innervates the teeth as well as the cheek area. And then finally, the division V3, or the mandibular region, which innervates the lower jaw and the teeth as well as the tongue, some of the tongue. And so you can see this distribution here in the map of this face, very nicely done. And so I believe, though, they get the divisions V2 and V3 mixed up. So please correct that, because obviously this would be the mandibular division down here, whereas this would be the maxillary up in that area. Okay, so there's the huge old trigeminal nerve. It is much larger than any other cranial nerve. And we can see there's a beautiful shot. I love this shot, showing all the nerves exiting, all the branches of the nerve exiting from the trigeminal region. So we see the breakdown here of the ophthalmic, the maxillary, and the mandibular. This is also a great shot from a previous text that shows you the individual branching patterns of each of the components of the trigeminal nerve. The facial nerve now is also got many branches, but it has several motor branches devoted to facial expression, and we'll see also has sensory components associated with taste. So we'll look at this aspect here. So these are the major functions of the motor nerve portion of the facial nerve. We also have the sensory component that detects taste on the forward or anterior 2/3 of the tongue. If you have saggy facial muscles or you have some problem with sensing taste, then there's some issue with this nerve. All right, so there's the branches of cranial nerve 7, quite extensive. And once again, a beautiful shot of it here, showing you the breakdown of each of the components of the 7th cranial nerve, which is known as the facial nerve. Finally, another shot from that other text that I love. I love how this breaks it down and shows you the localizations of the endings of the nerve. So finally, we hit the cranial nerve 8 for this video. Cranial nerve 8 is going to be really huge when we begin talking about balance and hearing in chapter 16. But for now, part of cranial nerve 8 gets all the information delivered from this structure called the cochlea that will be involved with hearing. The other part of cranial nerve 8 is devoted to the vestibular part, or the balance portion. So it's vestibulo, which is balance, cochlear, which is hearing. This is a combined nerve. Nearly all of it is devoted to sensory intake. So this is we'll consider it a sensory nerve only. So if you have damage here, you're going to have deafness, dizziness, loss of balance, some issues with cranial nerve 8 disturbances. All right, so the vestibular branch all due to balance, and it's going to deliver that information to regions in the pons and medulla oblongata, whereas the cochlear region is going to deliver the auditory information and connect with those regions, but eventually this information is delivered to the cortices in the temporal lobe. All right, so the distribution again, and how we collect that information, how it's sent, showing in these pictures.